It began with a video, a grainy clip, a girl stepping into an elevator, and something in the air that didn't feel right. She presses buttons, waits, glances outside, moves strangely, hiding, peeking, pacing. Something unseen, something not there, or something we simply couldn't see. The video circled the globe, frame by frame, analyzed, theorized, obsessed over. But behind the viral mystery was a real girl, not a ghost, not a glitch. Her name was Elisa Lam. And this was never just a story about an elevator. It was about everything that led her there. She arrived in Los Angeles alone, a 21-year-old student on a solo journey across the West Coast. She checked into a hotel downtown, the Cecil, tall, old, its walls heavy with time, its past already crowded with stories. Outside, the city pulsed with noise and life, traffic, neon lights, strangers brushing past. But Elisa wandered quietly through it all. She visited art galleries, browsed bookshops, photographed murals in alleyways. Her blog filled with snapshots of wonder. She was a traveler, an observer, not lost, just looking, in small cafes. She sipped tea and wrote. Her thoughts spilled across journals, blog posts, scraps of napkins, bits of joy, slivers of fear, questions without answers. A quiet soul, trying to be heard. In her words, you could hear both sunlight and shadows. She wrote about connection, loneliness, mental health. She wasn't hiding her struggles. She was naming them. And sometimes, naming a thing makes it louder. Her blog became a window, a digital echo of her inner world. Posts layered with thought and ache. Some hopeful, some fractured, but always real. Even through her loneliness, Elisa reached outward, to be seen, to be understood. Inside her room, time moved differently. Books scattered on the nightstand, a half-written postcard, a backpack untouched. The curtain swayed slightly, but the air felt still. She was alone, but not at peace. Sometimes, it's not noise that unsettles us, but silence. Elisa lay on the bed, eyes fixed on the ceiling, the hum of the city outside, the hum of her thoughts within. And somewhere between the two, something was shifting. Her trip was meant to be freeing, an adventure, but freedom can carry weight. The kind you don't pack in your suitcase, but still feel in every step. Something unspoken followed her, and it was getting closer. She sometimes climbed to the rooftop, to breathe, to look down at the city, its noise softened by height. She stood among rusted ladders and water tanks, watching the lights flicker in windows far below. A brief escape, but the weight always followed. Her blog fell quiet. No new photos, no new journal entries. Days passed. No one noticed right away, but something was already unraveling. She didn't check out, didn't answer messages. Her parents waited, then panicked. A missing person report was filed. Posters were printed. Searches began. The city kept moving, but one girl had vanished. Police searched her room, her belongings still there, wallet, clothes, medication, but no signs of struggle, just the quiet trace of someone who had been there, and then hadn't. Officers walked the narrow halls, dim lights buzzed, old wallpaper curled at the corners, dozens of rooms, dozens of doors, too many shadows, too many questions. They reviewed the footage, the elevator, that footage, the strange sequence, her gestures, the door that wouldn't close, moments frozen in confusion, and something else no one could name. Speculation flooded in. A stalker, a ghost, a glitch in the system. People searched for meaning in every movement, every flick of her hand, every blink. But the truth wasn't in the video. It was somewhere else entirely. Days later, guests began complaining. Low water pressure, strange taste, a strange color. Staff climbed to the rooftop to check the tanks. They opened the hatch and found her, floating, silent, in a tank meant to carry water, now carrying something else. The mystery was no longer theory. Shock rippled across the city. News anchors repeated her name. The video was shared again, but the girl behind it was gone. And the questions had only just begun. Her story was more than a headline, more than a strange video. She was a daughter, a sister, a young woman who wanted to see the world and write about it along the way. People forgot that behind the screens, behind the clicks and theories, was someone fragile, thoughtful, human. She laughed, she struggled, she hoped, just like anyone else. The Cecil Hotel had a long shadow, decades of deaths, disappearances, whispers, stories of violence, madness, sorrow. It had become a place people feared or were drawn to. Elisa may not have known that history, but the walls remembered. What happened in those final moments? Did she climb up there on her own? Was she afraid? Confused? Was anyone else involved? Theories multiplied, but certainty never came. The rooftop was supposed to be locked, alarmed, restricted, but somehow she was there, and the hatch to the tank, open. A detail that still raises eyebrows, still leaves gaps. Some said it was her mind, a storm she couldn't escape. She had spoken openly about her struggles, her diagnosis, her medication. But even that doesn't explain everything. Maybe the truth wasn't just one thing, not one moment, not one answer, but a tangle of fear, confusion, illness, and fate, woven into a place already heavy with ghosts. People turned her tragedy into entertainment, lists, videos, theories layered with music and suspense. But few stopped to mourn the girl at the center, go back to her blog, read her words. They were bright and broken, hopeful and haunted. And through all of them, you hear a voice trying to stay afloat. Now she lives in fragments, in internet archives, in elevator footage, in headlines and theories. But she was more than a mystery. She was the story still being written, until it wasn't. We look at stories like Elisa's, and we project our fears, our fascinations, our need for meaning in the unknown. But sometimes there is no neat ending, no full explanation. Some stories don't end with answers, just silence. And in that silence, we're left with echoes of a life, of a loss, of a question we can't quite name. The hotel still stands, its doors open, its windows lit. People come curious. Some take photos by the elevator, some book the same floor. But the place has not changed, only the stories it carries. Does anyone remember? The girl who wrote about her fears and dreams? The girl who wandered bookstores and photographed strangers' smiles? Not just the footage, not just the ending, but the girl before it all. Her blog still exists, frozen in time, a digital journal filled with tenderness, wit, longing, and pain. Not a scream for help, but a voice trying to stay heard in the noise. We tell stories like this to try to understand, to put the pieces together, to find the thread in the chaos. But sometimes the thread frays. This was never just a case. It was a girl, a journey, a tragedy with no villain and no clear ending, just a haunting space where answers should be. Her story became a ripple across cities, screens, hearts, a reminder that every person we pass has an ocean beneath them, and sometimes that ocean is storming. So let us remember her not by the theories, not by the footage, but by the girl who walked through the world with a camera, a journal, and a heart full of questions. a still image. Elisa Lam, standing at the edge of a rooftop, hair blowing in the wind, gazing out at a city that never truly saw her. And maybe, somewhere beyond the stories, she found peace.